It would have been noisy, chaotic, lots of kids running around, and this was the 1960s, so he was doing the work, and then my mom's work was at the house with all the children and the dishes and cleaning and shopping and whatnot. So I would think that, yeah, he probably appreciated his peace and quiet time when he could find it.
Mm-hmm. What was your relationship with Appa like?
My relationship with Apapa evolved over time, from my younger years to not really having strong connections. Just remembering another memory here.
Yeah.
And I can share if that's okay.
Yeah, go ahead.
So during the later 60s, there was a lot of social unrest in the country, right?
Mm-hmm.
And in Milwaukee. And it was serious, and there were serious reasons for it all. As a child, I didn't really know any of all of that. But I remember we took piano lessons, my sister and I. We had a piano in the dining room.
Yeah.
And a friend of my parents from Madison was our piano teacher. We had a lesson at 7 in the morning or something. So I never practiced. Probably wasn't a very good student for the guy. So there was the piano in the dining room. And I remember once my dad had handcuffs, and he was just practicing putting them on us, and I didn't realize this at the time, but he had gone to be a volunteer policeman to help out during those times.
I see.
Yeah. So then, as I got older, as a middle schooler, I became a little bit more rebellious, and I've apologized many times for my behavior as a preteen and as a teenager. And so my dad didn't really have to do much of the discipline with me. Most of it was with my mom.
Mm-hmm.
And as I became even more of a teenager and started driving and hanging out with my friends more, yeah, my dad wasn't real happy. He didn't like who I was going out with. My mom didn't like who I was going out with. And so the relationships were definitely strained at that point.
Yeah.
And it really wasn't until I went back to school, and he helped me a lot getting back into school. Every month I would write him and let him know what my rent and how much the heat bill was, and he really wanted to support me in the small way that he could. And once I did graduate from Madison, it was one of the best days of, I think, both of our lives. I could say that for him.
Yeah. As far as the interaction between you both?
Yeah. I just felt such love and pride the day I graduated, and it was a wonderful time. And so our relationship grew as I grew up, as I became more of an adult. I don't think my dad was too atypical of fathers in that time period, where little children just didn't didn't want to have much to do with them. They didn't do diapers. They didn't do grocery shopping. That just wasn't what men of that generation did. And I'm remembering the morning my firstborn son Kevin was born. The next day, I called, and it was about 7 in the morning, and I was in the hospital, and I knew my dad would be awake because he was an early riser. And I said, well, how does Kevin O'Shea Hanrahan sound? And my dad, well, I think it sounds great.
Yeah.
He loved Michael. He loved my boys, Kevin and Brian. He loved to hear about what you guys were doing. He loved to hear about you guys